Hello lovely people, I hope you are all well. Welcome back to my channel if you are here from previous times, and hello if you're new. My name is Claire. I usually do talk sense, but I haven't properly talked to somebody in about 24 hours. I've spoken to a few people, just briefly, in theatres, but this is the first chat I'm having. Anyway, you didn't need to know that. But hello, welcome to my channel. This is Open Roads and Theatre Seats, where we talk theatre and occasionally travel. And today we are going to talk about a new musical. Ooh, we like new musicals here on this channel. I'm currently down in London. I am seeing 3 shows over 2 days. I don't know what order I'm going to put these up in, but today we're going to discuss The Time Traveller's Wife. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on this show, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yeah, The Time Traveller's Wife. How did I get into this one? I'm not particularly sure. I was aware of its existence when it had its premiere at the Chester Story House. I was on the verge so many times of buying a ticket in Chester to go and see the show, because I love Chester as a place, and I was like, oh my god, I could do like a day trip, but I could also go and see a show. Never formulated into an actual idea. And then they announced that they were going to come into the West End for a short while and stay at the Apollo Theatre, and I came down this weekend. I was like, okay, what am I going to see, and I was like, oh my god, The Time Traveller's Wife, let's watch that. I didn't know much going in. I have not read the book, which is by Audrey Neffneger. Hopefully I've not butchered that. And I've never seen the film, so I had no idea what the story was, apart from I kind of was aware that there was a time traveller and a wife, because it's in the name. I also knew that the music and the lyrics for the show have been done by Joss Stone and also Dave Stewart of Eurythmics fame and Joss Stone of Joss Stone fame. The book of this show has been done by Laura Goodrison, and together they make a nice little musical. Now for me personally, the music was kind of a slow burner. There wasn't any like super memorable songs. There wasn't ones that you left singing. There were songs that were really quite nice and beautiful and melodic and ballady. There was also quite an impactful beginning of Act 2 song, which is called Journeyman, which is sung by one of the main characters, Henry. I definitely think that it's music that I'm going to need to listen to a few more times to formulate favourites and really appreciate it. Hello, future thoughts here. Yeah, since recording this, I have been listening to the cast recording quite a lot, and actually I'm really enjoying it. There are definitely favourite songs that I've got now that I didn't have at the time. Like I said, it's definitely a grower of a musical, music-wise, but yeah, I just thought I'd pop in and say hello and give you my extra thoughts. Back to me in the past. Thank you very much. I feel like it could have done with maybe one more upbeat song in it. Act 1 kind of finishes upbeat, but not like fully all singing or dancing. There is also a kind of singing, kind of dancing song in Act 2 when the other main character, Claire, has her gallery showing, but it's never like fully and sometimes you just need that. Saying that, This show has got the same producing team as Back to the Future and Ghost. Now, if you have watched either of those or you've heard things about either of those, you know that they are quite cleverly done. This show especially has some very clever illusions which have been formulated and put together by Chris Fisher of many places fame, but in my head he is the guy behind the illusions in Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe. The set itself is very clever in that there is a revolve around the bottom which moves one kind of main set piece, which has many facets to it, if we can call it that. But it's very cleverly done and everything is manoeuvred really cleverly. The set design has been done by Anna Fleschel, and if you mix that clever set and that production design with the projections and animations that are projected onto the main walls, projections which have been done by Andre Gouling, who I also previously watched his work in Sylvia earlier this year. It really just works together brilliantly to take everyone through the multitude of times and spaces that Henry has to go through throughout the show. Moving on to the cast is, I would like to call them small but mighty. The two main characters are Henry and Claire. Claire, I also appreciate, has been spelt correctly. It's spelt the same way as me, which is a rarity, especially if you're in the 90s. The amount of people that I went to school with who had a name Claire, but they put an I in it. It's just not right. There is no I. By the by though, Henry is played by David Hunter. He is the time traveller. Ta-da! Like I said, his standout moment for me was the beginning of Act 2, the song Journeyman. His work alongside the ensemble who are moving him throughout the space, as well as the projections that are put on the front curtain. It was amazing, and to see David Hunter being thrown upside down and back to front and all sides which way and still being able to sing, very impressive. The character of Henry is a likeable one, and yeah, I had no major problems with that character, although I feel like this show kind of lacked the chance to fully integrate with the characters. It kind of just felt sometimes like you never were fully in with them, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. I also really enjoyed David's chemistry with his leading lady, Claire, who is played by Joanne Woodward. This story is kind of told from Claire's perspective, which I quite enjoyed because it's always nice seeing Henry's travel through time, but it's more about how Claire feels throughout all the different meetings prior to her first meeting with Henry, and then how the relationship can feel from her perspective with him disappearing all the time. The character of Claire also goes through quite the emotional journey throughout the show, especially in Act 2. Oh, there are moments that fully broke me a little bit, and just made me want to run up as a fellow Claire and go and give that Claire a massive hug. And Joanne was just insane in those moments, and yeah, so clever, so ingenious, so brilliant. The roles of Claire's best friends, who are Gomez and Charisse, were played by Tim Hendren and Hiba Eshilka. Hopefully I said her name correctly because I always butcher it. that duo is so brilliant. I kind of feel like that duo is the comedic relief, so to speak. I kind of feel like they were unutilized, or underutilized should I say, but at the same time I also feel like I understand why there wasn't more of them. I just enjoyed seeing them on stage. I am a fan of both of their previous works, but yeah, like I say, I understand why it's not possible to have them on so much, but when they were on, they were excellent. Two other mentions. Firstly, the role of Henry's dad. Now, you don't get a great amount of him on stage. The story is very much about Claire and Henry's relationship through time. There is one moment in Act 1. The song is called I See Her, and it is a duet between Henry's dad, who is played by Ross Dawes, and Henry himself, and it was very emotionally driven, and I just enjoyed listening to it and watching the two through the song, because the relationship between the two is kind of stilted and stinted, and yeah, it was nice to see them kind of becoming a more cohesive duo through their love of a lost one. The last person I wanted to give a mention to was the person who played the role of young Claire and also Alba. In my performance, it was played by Ava Critchell, and oh my god, that girl. I don't know her age, but she was phenomenal. To go through what she has to go through in the show and also take on two roles in a way, I just really enjoyed seeing her on stage throughout the show, and I hope to see more of her in the future. The rest of the cast, the ensemble if you will, were strong but well formed, lovely to watch, and there was also a few familiar faces in there, which is always nice to see when you see people who you've seen previously in shows and you're like, ah, you're doing well, yay. So in conclusion, I suppose we should get to, I'm glad I went to see this show. It was maybe not one of my favourites of the year. It is a lovely story, a lovely romantic story. The set design and creative side of it is very cleverly produced. The songs may not be fully my favourites yet, but give them time, they may be. And it's always nice to see new theatre and new shows. So yeah, I'm glad in that respect. I did previously say though that there was part of me in Act 2 that kind of didn't settle, and that is due to the warnings. On entry it says this performance contains the use of strobe and flashing lights, haze, loud bangs and gunshot noises. That is very much the case. There is, for the sensitive ears and dispositions like my own, a few loud noises, and I thought I'd just mention them at the end of this video. So moments to be prepared for. Firstly, in the beginning of Act 1, at the end of the first song, there is quite the unsuspecting noise as Henry makes his disappearance first on stage. Each disappearance after that isn't as loud. Henry pretty much takes himself away from the stage front, either to go side stage or through a door, so the noise isn't as strong and less scary on the ears. At the end of Act 1, in this last song, there is one moment that is kind of loud, and forebodes what's going to happen in Act 2. And therefore, because I knew at some point in Act 2 there was going to be another loud noise, I got more and more anxious in my seat, to the point that when the actual gunshot sounds and you'll know when it's going to happen, I was quite the shaky, nervous wreck. And I suppose that kind of caused me to not fully be involved in Act 2 because I was just in readiness for that noise. But if, like me, you are of the nervous disposition and don't like loud noises, then I just thought I'd sneak it in at the end of the video. But there we go. Time Traveller's Wife, done, dusted, reviewed, chatted about. There are my thoughts. If you have any questions and I've missed anything out, feel free to leave them down below. I'm glad I went to see it, and maybe you will go and watch it too. If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you thought about it. But there we go. I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope I see you next time for more theatre and fun. I don't know why I'm doing this. That's a sign to finish this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.